lot of matches that happened. Obviously, it's the first Champions League return, and our European Player of the Year, is basically facilitated. But having said that, Max, I'll come to you because we did cover on the preview show that basically, Zenit cannot be taken lightly because I think they hadn't lost for about 6 months to any side, any competition. So that was like a big kind of form trajectory that they had, right? But were you like still surprised that Tuchel did not make a lot of changes, and actually especially with Werner, Chilwell, kind of people not starting? Is that something that surprised you, or you think we probably went with the right combination?
You know what? I underestimated Zenit, actually. I thought we were going to win quite handsomely. I know you said that they haven't lost a lot of games, but they were playing in the Russian league. I think in the Champions League, they finished bottom of their group. They failed to qualify twice, I think, in the last couple of seasons. But fair play to them. They came with a game plan. They were very solid. And what I think, my team, what I would have gone with, I would have gone with more of a runner in one of those advanced positions in one of the top three. Because if you look at Mount and Ziyech, they both like ball to feet. And if you're playing in front with a team who's going to be two banks of four and solid and organised, you need somebody who's going to do something a bit different, who's going to try and beat a man one-on-one to try and take them out of their shape a bit. So I'd have liked to either seen somebody, I know Pulisic is injured, it would have been ideal for this game, but I'd like to see probably somebody like a Hudson-Odoi, given his proper position. Obviously when he's been playing as a right wing back up front, so just with instructions to try and sort of make those runs and go one way, go the other, try and just get them out of shape. Or maybe Werner, because what Werner does, he stretches the play with his direct running, So, and I thought actually when he made the substitute that he would have brought on one of those two rather than bringing on Havertz. Havertz runs with the ball a bit better than probably Ziyech does, but he's still more about passing, movement and things rather than dribbling skills. I'd love to have seen a dribbler just to try and open them up a bit.
Interesting. Like, yeah, I certainly get that. And as I say that, we have Doug from the Dugout Football channel joining. Again, great channel, covers a lot of leagues. So, people in the chat, do feel free to subscribe to these channels. Like I said, Blue Clouds TV, Dugout Football channel, Chelsea Perspective, Bala Ball, Let's Talk Ball with On, great channels and always supporting. Having said that, Akash, I think Max spoke about the way Zenit was set up, right? So they were, I think, in a 4-5-1 kind of setup, and for me, of course, the both wingers were their players who kind of made a lot of runs off the ball. But when it comes to Chelsea, right? Again, first half, it's an understatement that we were underwhelming. There's no secret there. And I know Akash, for people in the chat, Akash is also a huge Kovacic fan, just like me. And I think even Azpilicueta fan. Again, as Chelsea fans, we love our players, but we have a special, something for Kovacic and Azpilicueta. I know as a matter of fact. But would it be fair to say Azpilicueta had an underwhelming first half? And not just him. I think Ziyech, also, as well as I think even a lot of others, right? As in, only people who kind of stood out for me in the first half were Kovacic and maybe Christensen and Rudiger. Is that because of the fact, Akash, that the formation of Zenit was 4-5-1 and they were playing low block, and we were forced to kind of just wait and watch what they do?
It could either be, how I see it is, it's too early in the season for us to expect fluency every 3 days, right? So players haven't had the largest of breaks, so they had the Euros, and it's been constant strain for a lot of these players, and they are going to pick up soft muscle, as in soft tissue injuries at some point, right? So I think they're still pacing themselves and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And in the first half, we didn't move the ball fast enough, and I think our midfield in general, Jorginho and Kovacic were trying to play the ball into Lukaku's feet and then trying to get people to play off him, but Ziyech and Mount were just a little bit off the pace, so to speak. So knitting our play together in the final third wasn't happening for me. And I don't know if other people have noticed it, but Mount and Ziyech don't work together. I can't think of too many performances where they've complemented each other. Mount finds Havertz for fun, and it's the same with Havertz as well. I think they sort of vibe and they sort of, they enjoy playing with each other. When it comes to Ziyech, he needs movement in front of him to find people. So he needs people like Pulisic or Werner making those runs, stretching the defense. And he has space to play those balls. We didn't have too much of an attacking dimension in the first half outside of Lukaku holding the ball up and maybe bringing others into play. And I think Tuchel sort of recognized that, with bringing Havertz on, but that, Burton Ball has just mentioned, it didn't change the dynamic too much, because maybe Havertz likes to sort of drop deep, get the ball, and then sort of influence play, right? In some ways. So I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern, because it's very, very early in the season, but it definitely gives Tuchel something to think about. If other teams set up with two banks of four, and then we don't have place to play, we don't have space to pick holes in their defense, then if Lukaku is our only option, if the sort of balls that Aspi plays is our only option, we maybe need to think of doing things a little different. Pulisic definitely with his one-on-one ability, Hudson-Odoi, and again Hudson-Odoi at right wing back, I'm not a huge fan, because it definitely needs a little bit of tactical nous and defensive stability to be able to play that role. I don't think he has that as of now. But again, someone who can sort of do something different, beat a person one-on-one, beat people either side. We need to sort of explore those options as well. So that's how I see it, and open to suggestions, your thoughts there.
Yeah, it's absolutely great point, because for me, again, Akash kind of hit the nail on the head, because Ziyech, him pinging those long balls, doesn't work with Mount, someone who wants the ball in front of him. That's one aspect. But the other aspect, we see this comment, I think I'll go to Max for this, because I think Bobby, big up for joining. Should Mount be on the bench for next game? So for me, I'll put my perspective first, Max. The way I see it, I know that for his standards, Mount definitely had an underwhelming game as well, right? But again, for people who probably look at the attacking side, for me, he had a lot of balls that he won as well, and those turns that he has, again, those turns, I think he beat his man at least thrice on those turns that he has, and those half turns, and that is something that someone like Havertz, who probably came late on, worked out better, because he has that chemistry more than a Ziyech, and they were probably playing closer. Would that be a fair comment, Max? As in, where would you rate Mason Mount's performance? Would you start?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. That's what I said in my preview. Actually, I said he wasn't great on the ball. Either him or Ziyech, they kept giving the ball away. Did a couple of decent things, but where Mount did excel is in his ball recovery, because there's a lot of times he won the ball back. And this guy, he amazes me because of his strength. Because when you look at he's a young lad, and he's not the most bulky, is he? But he knows how to use his body. Because these Russian guys, they were big guys, but they were bouncing off him at times as well. So you know what? In answer to Bobby's question, we're playing Tottenham, so he has to play against Tottenham. Tottenham is a game, it's a big rival, and you know what it goes, the tackles come flying in those sort of games. So you need people who are going to be prepared for the battle. And one thing you can say about Mason Mount is that he doesn't shirk his responsibilities. He's not afraid to put himself into 50-50 tackles. If the alternatives are Ziyech, who I wouldn't play in that game, because I just think he still is finding his feet, although he's been here a season and a bit, he's still finding his feet. And when it's a faster tempo game, I think that he'll definitely struggle. Even to some extent, I think sometimes Havertz, he's the one who needs a bit more time on the ball as well in some games, certain games. And this game, you know what's going to happen. I'm not sure if you saw when they beat Tottenham beat Manchester City, and they had Skip and some other people, and they were going in hard with the tackles. And with the way the refereeing is now, where you're going to be more lenient with these tackles, and they're letting a bit more go, you do need Mason Mount's fight in the next game, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted someone to second it, Max, and thanks for that, because we often kind of compare players to what their ability is or what their form has been. The fact is, the guy does much, and at the end of the day, it's just the first Champions League game of the season, and that's where we're coming to. The crucial point was, of course, Akash, for our sake, Azpilicueta finally turned up, and he saved his best for the last. And a great cross, again, deja vu with the Morata and Azpilicueta, kind of combination. But again, I don't want to compare to Morata, because Akash, for you, that header was not a normal header, right? That is something that I think Lukaku probably someone who can make it feel like it's easy, but that is something of an addition that we have this season than last, right? For sure.
Yeah, so let's put it this way: if the same match was played last season, right, it ends 0-0. That's the difference that Lukaku has brought to the squad. And a lot of people can talk about patterns of play and how you find that last person in the box. There's different ways to do it, right? But the target man will never go out of fashion. If things don't work, having that person, that you can just play the ball into at any height and he can bring it down and sort of affect games, it's invaluable. And a lot of people wanted Haaland, and maybe the sort of narrative sort of shaped my thoughts that way as well. But the way Lukaku has progressed since he went to Inter Milan, right? So there was talk of Conte making him run the same drill for almost 3 months, where Ranocchia was backed into him, and they kept playing the same ball, and he had to sort of turn Ranocchia and score. So, and you can see that in how he plays now. His feel for the ball has improved. His first touch, which a lot of people derided him for ages, has improved by leaps and bounds. His overall play in general, and he's always scored goals for fun wherever he's gone. And having a striker of this caliber in our squad, it's something to be excited about for Chelsea fans for sure. And if you think about historically Chelsea strikers, right, we had Drogba, who could both play on the shoulder as well as be that focal point up top, and we sort of tried to replace him with different profiles. It didn't work till we brought in Diego Costa, who could sort of do the same. And since then, it's been a slew of different strikers who have been blown hot and cold, but now we finally got that one person who can do both. And if you talk about Azpilicueta, again, for me, he's still the best one-on-one defender in the league, right? People say that he's lost his legs, that maybe he's not as nimble as he once was, but he can still put in a shift. He can still mark his zone properly. He doesn't let go. He tracks runners. He doesn't switch off at any point during the match, and he's an example to younger players. So, and if he can back that up with the sort of attacking output that he showed this match, he's invaluable. And a lot of people were saying that Koundé would come in, phase him out. I think he'll still give the young guy a run for his money, even if we do sign another RCB. Great player, true legend of Chelsea Football Club.
Absolutely. And for people in the chat, I would like you to comment, because Azpilicueta, at the end of the day, yes, he had a poor first half, but he has the experience to know what it takes to win such games, and he finally delivered, right? And same thing happened in the previous game. He actually got 2 assists in 2 games. So I don't know, again, against the Spurs, I would also be tempted to actually play Azpilicueta on the wing-back position. Play Christensen was fantastic in this game. But coming on to that, I think I've put a poll, guys, in chat. I don't know if you guys have voted. I will take a look midway through the stream. But I'm looking for basically even who was basically the player of the match, right, for you. For me, again, I know Lukaku scored the goal. He got the official man of the match. But, Kovacic was someone who was consistent throughout the game, and he's been consistent play in the last couple of games, so hopefully he continues his form. But again, I would like to know from the chat, who was your man of the match, and again, who was the person that you were really underwhelmed by. My vote goes to Ziyech. But yes, talking a lot about Chelsea games, we will take a look at the poll results later on, because that is about all the UEFA Champions League games put together, right? We have fans here from other clubs as well, so don't get disappointed. We will cover them.